What is up, guys, and welcome back to the DocMack car channel. Today what I'm going to show you is how to inspect a used vehicle before purchase. So in the first video that I've done, I showed you how to inspect the vehicle for any crashes, damages and any structural damage. So in this video I'm going to show you how to check the mechanical state of the vehicle. So backed by popular demand, a lot of people like the other videos, so I'm going to do this one. If you guys haven't already subscribed, consider subscribing if you never want to miss any of my car videos. So without further ado, let me pop the bonnet. So the first thing you want to do is, this is a 2012 Toyota Camry. So most engines do apply the same way. So this is your engine oil dipstick, and what you need to do is you just need to take a Kleenex and you need to wipe it clean. Now, as you can see, the engine oil is still relatively clean. The car's done about 4,000 kilometers, or a little over 2,300, 2,400 miles. So there you go. You can check the level of it. As you can see, that's low, that's high. So that's the way you can check it. Now, it doesn't end there. So with this one, what you'll need to do is, there's something called a head gasket damage or head gasket leak. So I'm going to show you how you can test for those things. Just some easy checks. So this is where you fill the engine oil. This is the engine oil cap. You'll need to get that one undone, like so. Now what you need to do is you need to clean off any crud that you have off before opening it, and then unscrew it. Now what you need to do is you need to take a look at the engine oil cap on the underside. Now if you see something which looks like chocolate yogurt, then you do have a head gasket damage or head gasket leak. That means coolant and oil is actually mixing together. So this one is completely clear, so you know that the engine doesn't have any issues with it. Well, at least so far. Alright guys, so this is your screen washer fluid. Don't need to go over that one. That's your ABS module. This one is your brake fluid. So what you can do is you can open your brake fluid thing easily and carefully, and as you can see inside there, it looks like very light honey or very light maple syrup. That still looks good. If it goes black, then you want to change it. And this one is quite caustic, so you guys need to make sure you don't get any on the paintwork. This is your alternator. So you can already inspect how the alternator looks, and as you can see, this one does look good. This is what charges your battery. Now this is your serpentine belt, as you can see, and I'll show you how to check if you've got any pulley damage or not. A pulley is that one there. That's a pulley. That's a pulley as well. So you want to make sure that you don't have any pulley damage as well. I'm going to show you how to check that now. So to check for pulley damage, what you'll need to do is you'll need to look at it in a straight line and then start the engine. If you see the belt moving, that means one of your pulleys are gone, and you'll actually hear a squeal as well. Okay, I'll just stand back a bit so you guys can hear me. So as I move forward, you're going to see that it runs straight in a line. Alright, as you guys can see, the pulley does look quite good, and the serpentine belt is moving straight, so that's good. It doesn't require any attention. Now this is your radiator expansion tank, and this is your radiator pressure cap. So you never ever want to open this when the vehicle is hot at all, only when it's cold. So you need to check the level of the radiator water. So you can see from here, it's pink color coolant, so that's long life coolant, which most Japanese cars use. As you can see, this is the fill line here, and this is the minimum line here. So the vehicle does need a bit of coolant here. So this area, you can actually just open it, and then you can actually touch it, and you can see how good or bad the coolant is. But I don't want to open it now because the vehicle is hot. Now your spark plugs would be typically underneath here, so you can actually pop this one open like so, like that. So I've got a detailed video on how you can check spark plugs, so make sure to check that video out as well. I'm gonna leave that one for later. And this is your air box. I also have a video on how you can change engine air filters as well. So if your engine air filter is clogged, it is most likely that the car was also not serviced very well. This is your ECU, this is your battery. It basically goes in from here all the way into your air box, and from the air box into the throttle body and into the intake manifold. Alright guys, so those are the things to check. Now you guys may be wondering how come there's no power steering fluid in this vehicle. This is because that this vehicle does not have a hydraulic power steering. It's got an electronic power steering, which is why you guys do not have a little reservoir there which you can check. Now the transmission on this vehicle is just on this side. This is a front wheel drive vehicle, and this is a right hand wheel drive. There's no actual dipstick for the gearbox, so there's no way to check the transmission fluid, but the transmission fluid should typically be red color. This is your transmission fluid. So we're going to take this one out and take a look at that one. Now you don't want to mix any fluid, so okay, transmission fluid looks really good. It's a bright pinkish red color, which is really good. And then you want to make sure that you pull this one back, push it down firmly, and then make sure it's holding it in place. You don't want any moisture getting into the fluid. I'm just going to make sure that I put this one back properly. Like so. That's done. And to check your battery, what you can do is you can just clean this little bit off here. This is a maintenance free battery. So you can see it's showing green color, which means that the battery is still good. Now with car batteries, you've got things called cold cranking amps and also the normal volts. So you want to be aiming somewhere around 12 volts, and based on the cold cranking amps that's required for your vehicle, you can get AutoZone to test this battery for you. So for those of you who are wondering what cold cranking amps is when it goes 0 or below Celsius, then that is when your cold cranking amps is required to start the vehicle for the first 30 seconds. It's not that it's going to take 30 seconds, but that is the cold cranking amps which is needed to start the vehicle. Another thing that you guys want to do is to check the valve cover gasket. So the valve cover gasket would be around here, and that seals around the engine, and the spark plugs are also sealed by it. Now if that actually fails and it cracks, then you'll have some sort of engine oil coming out here that'll flow into your spark plugs and cause the engine to misfire. Now if you guys would like to know how to diagnose the engine using the OBD2 scanner, then I've got another video showing you the results of how you can use it and how good it is. Alright guys, so there's something called a timing chain or a timing belt for those of you who do not know. So you need to check this when you're purchasing a vehicle. Now certain vehicles are timing chain driven, which means that there's a chain inside the motor, which is typically around this area. Now if at all this is made of metal, this little piece right here, then that is most likely to be a timing chain. If it's plastic, then it is a timing belt driven engine. And what you need to do is, if your engine is chain driven, you need to make sure there's no chain rattle noises. If not, the tensioner may have come loose, and that can potentially cause engine damage. Now if you do have a timing belt vehicle, you want to make sure that the timing belt has been changed, but not only the timing belt, but the timing belt kit. The timing belt kit includes the timing belt, water pump, idler pulley, idler bearing, and all other pulleys. I'll include it in the video as to what the kit includes. So this is something you might need to check with the owner, and there should be some proof of paperwork. Alright guys, now we're going to go over to the wheels of the vehicle. So now these are your wheels, and what this is called, again this is for those of you who do not know, this is more for beginners. This is called your disc, or what's even called as a roto. This is your silver color bit right there, the reflective thing. What you need to do is you need to take your finger and run it over, and if it's quite smooth, it's good. If you feel a lot of ridges, that means that the rotor is gone and your brake pads are low as well. So the rotor and the brake pad will need to be done, or the rotor will need to be skimmed. Skimmed meaning that means they can put it on a machine and then they can flatten it. All right, with the tires, the other thing is what's called a DOT code, which is your date of manufacture. So if you see here, it says 2919. That means the tire was manufactured the 29th week of 2019. So this is how you can tell how old your tires are. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to check for bad tire rod ends or bad CV joints as well. Right guys, so what you need to do is you'll obviously need to take the car for a test drive, but I'm just going to show you at low speeds what you can do to test the CV joint as well as the tire rod end. So the first thing you need to do is engage the vehicle into reverse. Look for any thuds. You don't have any thuds, that's good. Put it into neutral, no issues. Put it into drive, no thuds. This is a Tiptronic gearbox, so if you put it to the right and you lower the gear, you'll see it go down and you'll see the gear go up. That's good. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go at a low speed, and what you're going to do is you're going to full lock the wheel, and what you should hear is you should hear for some sort of clicks. All right, so okay, so now I'm going to full lock the vehicle, stop, full lock, and then turn and pick up speed. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go the other way around, like so, and then full lock the other way around. And what you're going to hear is for any weird clicking and clunking sounds. All right guys, while you do have the engine running, what you want to do is you want to turn on the air conditioner. And you want to make sure that the aircon compressor does not start making a loud rattle or squeal, because that could be a costly fix for you guys. Now you want to make sure that the temperature gauge, in this case my car's got C and H right here, you want to make sure that the temperature gauge is somewhere down the middle. That would be good. And you want to make sure that when you're driving the vehicle, that the vehicle is tracking straight. Okay, and once you let go of the steering, the vehicle should track straight on a straight road. That's what you want to do. The other thing you want to do is when you're driving the vehicle, you want to do a quick brake, but not too quick. You want to make sure that you feel that there's no throbbing in the brake. You don't want to feel a shudder at all. And one thing is you want to make sure that your vehicle is straight and then come to a stop like so, and it should track straight. Like now it's slightly to the side because the road is not properly evened out, but as you're driving like so, what you want to do is you want to quickly brake, and as you can see, it is tracking straight. All right guys, the other thing you want to consider checking is the tread depth on the tires. So like the tread depth on the same axle, which means front versus front, has got to be exactly the same or very similar tread depth. If at all you've got one which has got more than the other, then it's possible alignment issue. If you've got camber wear on the outside or camber wear on the inside, it could be suspension issues, or also it could be the bearing issues. So you want to make sure that your tire looks like this, so it's got even tread all throughout, and the same goes for the back of the vehicle as well. Now what you want to make sure also is when you check the exhaust pipe, you want to feel and make sure that there's no oil coming out of the exhaust pipe. Alright, as you guys can see, the tread is quite even throughout the front and throughout the back. So that means there's no alignment issues with this vehicle. Alright guys, if you've liked this video, consider subscribing, consider sharing this video, giving it a thumbs up, even comment if this has actually helped you guys. Thanks, have a great day, bye.